They're laid out there. And so we are coming up in Leviticus 23 to the Feast of Trumpets. And we also know in Thessalonians, when our Messiah comes back, there's going to be a trumpet blast. So it all points to him. It all reminds us of him. It all points to his return. And who wouldn't want to celebrate that, right? So that's what we're getting ready for. So a tradition is to blow the shofar starting the 1st of Elul all the way to Rosh Hashanah, which is about 30 straight days. And I think some traditions said that even to Yom Kippur, which is 40 days. But I'm trying to do the 30 days of blowing that shofar. And, you know, the first time the shofar was heard, according to the Bible, good morning, Steffi. So glad you're here. I don't have my get-up, you know, my get-ups for my videos, but this is going to have to do. It's the it'll do thing, you know. But anyway, yeah, so blowing the shofar daily is something that I've chosen to do to prepare for Rosh Hashanah, the Feast of Trumpets. And I'm so excited about that. Trying to find out if we can meet or not, because some of our restrictions say no more than 10 people in a gathering, and then some people say, but that doesn't count for a religious gathering. So I've got to find that out. But Jews around the world are preparing for this right now, and so am I, and so are many of you. So in Kings, I just felt like we're kind of in some parallels. Oops, sorry about that reflection. We're in some parallels with what happened with Elijah. Elijah was under the rule of some evil politicians, Ahab and Jezebel, okay? And they were wreaking havoc on God's people. You know, they were doing some terrible things. And you know how some churches in California and even on Oahu, and I don't know about here on the Big Island, but they have been forbidden to meet. They've been cited. There's been lawsuits against them. It was that kind of thing that was going on during Elijah's time too, where the prophets, the only prophets allowed to be at the king's table were the false prophets, the evil prophets, the prophets of Baal. So those are the only ones in that day and time that were allowed to speak. And the other prophets, we'll see what happened to God's prophets. We'll see what happened to them in a minute. And I just felt like the Lord highlighted this morning as we're preparing for Rosh Hashanah, as we're preparing for Yom Kippur, and as we're preparing after that for the best feast in my mind for the whole year, which is Feast of Tabernacles. Feast of Tabernacles, which is really exciting. Okay, so Elijah feeds the ravens. That's what 1 Kings 17. That's the title of this chapter. 1 Kings. If you want to follow along with me, it's 1 Kings chapter 17. Okay, so now Elijah the Tishbite, who was among the settlers of Gilead, said to Ahab, "As surely as the Lord lives, the God of Israel, before whom I stand, there will be neither dew nor rain in these years except by my word." Can you imagine that? Going up to Governor Newsom and saying, "'Cause what you've done, no rain until I say so." Wouldn't you feel kind of scared if you put a threat out like that? And yet, all the prophets, you know, they show that this is not their favorite thing to do. And some of them, including Jeremiah, even and Moses and several others, even argued at first about their assignment. What? Are you kidding me, Lord? I'm just a child, or, you know, I can't say that, or it'll be off with my head. You know, that's what the kings did easily, right? Hey, Carrie. So, you know, that's what he had to do. He had to go to the king who could kill him if he didn't like what he said, and he had to give him a warning. And this is actually happening to a lot of people right now. And there's lawsuits going against our governor right now. And there's, you know, there's words from the Lord too that are going out that aren't, you know, favorable words. They aren't fun words to give, right? Okay. Whew. So anyway, then a revelation from the Lord came to Elijah. Leave here. Turn eastward. Hide yourself by the brook of Cherith. That's interesting, like my daughter's name, Cherish, east of the Jordan. Okay, so first he says, give this word, and then he says, go hide. And that's what's happened to a lot of people. A lot of people are actually hiding in their caves, in their houses right now. It's almost unbearable in some places to go out anymore, and that is understandable. And for Elijah, it was going to be unbearable for him to go out and to be in the public because of the word of the Lord that he had to give. It was pretty shocking, you know. And then the Lord said in verse 4 of 1 Kings 17, and you are to drink from the brook I have commanded you. The ravens to feed, I have commanded the ravens to feed you there. So Elijah has to give this harsh word. He has to warn a king who could kill him instantly. God says to go hide and I will take care of you. And a lot, you know, I mentioned this passage a lot because of all the things that God did to take care of his servant during a time of wicked, evil leadership that was suppressing him and that was causing him and the children of Israel, which we'll see more in a minute, causing them horrible things, oppression, and there was just a lot of yucky, awful things going on during that reign. Now, King Ahab was supposed to be a man of God, and he married Jezebel, and it was all political. Sound familiar? It was all political. And so it all, because of their motives, because of the breaking God's commands in their leadership, it turned sour. It was really sour, really bad, and it really affected the children of God in a bad way. So I always love to refer to Elijah because it just shows God's supernatural care for his children during times like this. Times that we're coming upon and living in some ways right now. Oh, close. We're getting close to it. And it says, and Elijah said, okay, verse 4, and you are to drink from the brook. Okay, so the water, and I have commanded the ravens to feed you. There's the water and the food. The water and the food that God provides during times like this, like your necessary sustenance, he will provide when he tells you to stand up to something and run. And he did. So, verse 5, Elijah did what the Lord had told him, and he went and he lived by the brook of Cherith, east of the Jordan. The ravens would bring him bread and meat in the morning and evening, and he would drink from the brook. That, Shelley, that is 1 Kings chapter 17 I'm on. I'm on 1 Kings 17. I'm on verse 7. Okay? Sometime later, however, the brook dried up because there was no rain in the land. Why was there no rain in the land? Because Elijah had to give a judgment word to Ahab, right? He had to give a judgment. And so it was probably like, Elijah was probably like, oh man, oh Lord, look at this. You made me cause a drought through my words, and now I have no call. Somebody forgot what I do this morning. Somebody that's normally on here. Come on. Anyway, I hope I didn't lose you guys. Give me a thumbs up or something if you're still there. A heart, anything. Because my phone doesn't always show it. Well, anyway, I'm just going to keep going because I'm going to assume you guys are there. Okay? But I don't see... Oh, thank you. Oh, was that Stacy? Are you on too now? Cool. Okay. So, all right. So, Elijah had to give the word, had to give the judgment, and then had to run for his life. And he had to depend supernaturally. Hey, Stacy, good to see you. He had to depend supernaturally, Elijah did, on provision. Supernaturally. Thank you, Shelley. So we know that there comes times where God